meeting for our solid waste update, brought to us by our director, John Phillips, and our principal planner, Lorene Chaffin. Attending are Commissioners Brooks and Filios, Commissioner Brooks by phone, Commissioner Filios in person. Commissioner Leslie Duncan is attending the logic and accuracy test at elections. Do we have any changes to the agenda? Hearing none. First item of business, operations update. JP, take it away.
Thank you, Commissioner, and good morning. I am John Phillips for the record, and to discuss operations in the solid waste department. I need to turn that down. Sorry about that. I'm going to start out with storm debris from heavy wet snow, which occurred recently. So we've had increased traffic at the transfer stations, of course, not longer than normal wait times, and increased wood waste. At the Ramsey transfer station, just for comparison, in the year 2020, we had 13,250 customers come through in that time period, about a 1 week period in 2020 this year. In 2019, it was 10,112 customers. So we're up about 25% in our customer count, roughly, compared to last year within the last week. Most of that was wood waste. Prairie's numbers were fairly similar. There was likely not as much tree damage in Post Falls. The wood tons are up also a similar amount, about 25%, which equals about a total of 1,090 tons of wood came in the last week. That is an incredible amount of wood for this time of year. So, Harrison Junction, I want to move on to the rural sites. We have some dead trees at the junction site over there. We've received a complaint about these trees near the dumpsters, and so I immediately sent out our operations manager to take a look and assess the situation. There's estimated 10 to 12 trees that need to be cut down. It could be as high as 15 that are dead or dying. There may be a beetle infestation in the area. It doesn't appear to just be around the dumpsters. The state of Idaho actually owns the site and will allow us to cut them down. I've been in contact with the state, and I feel it's our obligation to do so since they're near the dumpsters. Okay. The state agreed that they would haul off the logs if we cut them into 6-foot sections or less, which would save us the expense of having to move the logs. We would have the company that we hire chip the branches. I'm currently in the process of trying to hire a company to take care of this. However, it's difficult to get anybody to do it immediately because of all the storm damage that recently occurred with that heavy wet snow. I will likely get this taken care of. We're hoping by Thanksgiving. We're in contact, like I said, with 3 different services trying to get somebody that can do it right away.
Okay.
Moving on to rural sites, there's 3 sites that I've been working on with Kootenai Electric for lighting and security. I want to get power put in at those sites. This would be the Micah Kid Island, the Sunup, and the Worley rural sites. We're working with KEC on the electricity from existing infrastructure to our property. First, we need to work out easement issues on 2 of these 3 sites at Micah and Sunup. So this is the Kid Island Bay site, or the Kid Island Bay Road site, and also the Sunup Bay Road site. Worley Highway Department will need to grant the easements before KEC will agree to install any of the service. I'll likely be coming to the Board of County Commissioners for the granting of easements that may be necessary also on the sites we own, which would allow KEC to install underground electricity on our site. KEC will be drawing up the language for these easements at the Micah and Sunup site. Avista will be drawing up any necessary easement for the Worley site because Avista is the service provider in that area. I have secured quotes for the install of electricity for pedestals, poles, lights, power supply, and the requirements at the site. Estimated completion is to be sometime in the spring because we're anticipating the ground may be frozen in January when we get the easements taken care of. Mm-hmm. Moving on to upcoming bids within the solid waste department. There's one bid that we're working on for a D8R dozer, and this would be a rebuild. So we're planning on rebuilding an older machine. It's a late 90s machine, and that is That machine's located at the landfill. Estimated rebuild could be in the neighborhood of $525,000 up to. That's what we budgeted. It's anticipated to be a little less than that. You'll see that bid coming up shortly. A waste handler loader, which is a specialized loader, is also coming up for bid at the Prairie Transfer Station. We budgeted $288,000. I would anticipate that's going to be pretty close, and that bid will be coming out fairly soon. We also have two transfer station trailers, or transfer trailers, for the Ramsey Transfer Station. You'll see those bids also coming out shortly. $96,000 each is what we budgeted for a total of $192,000. Those will likely be piggybacked, so it may be a fairly easy process. With that, we're going to move on to recycling and waste statistics.
Just a quick question for you. When the work is done, when these, the first item of equipment that you referred to that's being refurbished, is there a warranty that goes with that?
Yes, so we will specify a warranty requirement in the bid documents.
Okay.
And we will also ask for optional warranties that Caterpillar may offer. The reason I say Caterpillar is because it's a Caterpillar machine, so most likely Caterpillar will be required to be the ones. Now, whether it's a local Cat that gets the bid or somebody in the area that meets bid specifications.
Okay, cool. Good enough.
So it'd be similar to the compactor when we rebuilt this.
Right, okay. Bill, any questions? Bill?
No, none at all.
Okay. So we're
Yes, I'm here. I said no questions.
okay. So moving on to recycling updates, Lorene?
So if you saw in the newspaper, in the Spokesman Review over the weekend, there was a big article that the city of Spokane is struggling with the same things that we are struggling with throughout the United States, which is the cost of processing recycling has increased exponentially. And, it's a tough job to balance what your constituents want and what we can reasonably finance. I mention that because we are making a change to our recycling program. As you recall, we just signed a contract with Waste Management doing business as Bluebird, and that's who's processing our recyclables. So just to kind of help you understand the reason that we made the decisions that we made, when you commingle, when you mingle materials and you don't keep it pure, you lose value.
As in single stream?
As in single stream. So
Okay.
that means everything goes into one container, and that requires a lot more work to sort out the materials. At our rural sites, we have commingled bins. We're allowing them to do paper, cardboard, and aluminum cans. To give you an example, in the calendar year of 2019, the commingled materials that we pulled off of the rural sites was right at 290 tons. To process that was $117.50. So our processing cost for that 290 tons is $39,900. We also have straight just cardboard bins at the rural sites, and we recycled 122 tons. The processing cost for that is $47.50, or was under the old contract. So in our new contract, the commingled processing cost is $124.44. The cardboard cost is $30. So our decision is to remove commingled bins and replace them with just cardboard. When we looked at the mixture of cardboard, 42% of the commingled was cardboard. So it is a reduction in the amount of service that we're providing to our constituents. However, it's the smartest choice that we can make given the finance factor that we have to take in, the trucking, the amount of people that we have to have on the road to manage this. I anticipate that there may be some phone calls in regards to that. We did put a press release out. However, recycling is not what people want to see in the newspaper at this point in time. So we are putting it on our website. We are reaching out as much as we can. Those commingled bins have been removed, and within a couple of weeks, we'll be putting out the cardboard bins. basically, I just wanted to make sure that the board was aware of this because the phone calls, you know, we end up having to answer all kinds of interesting questions when it gets to that. Tying in with the JP's wood storm result, I wanted to kind of touch base with the board and let them know that for the whole year of 2019, we recycled 13,890, so 14,000 tons of wood. At that, in 2019, our cost for that was $26 a ton. So far, this was prior to this storm event, the facilities have processed 12,800, so almost 13,000 tons. If I add in the stuff that came in on this wood, we are probably going to exceed that. And the change in the tonnage or the cost for processing is $27 a ton. So right now, if you're looking at Ramsey or if you looked on North Idaho News over the weekend, you saw quite a few videos and photographs. People were having difficulty getting into the transfer stations. And the main reason for that was that they were bringing in wood and we can't process that many people. It was crazy. If you saw the wood pile today, it looks like a big mountain. So we will be working very hard to get that processed and taken care of. Moving on to our other item, agenda item is the waste statistics. So what I thought I'd do is, since this is the 1st of November, I thought I would compare things for fiscal year end because it ties in with budget numbers and things like that. So overall, the landfill, we put in 196,307 tons into the landfill. That's compared to 181,230. So it's an increase of 8.3%. Not anything that I'm surprised with. We've seen that that steady growth constantly over the year. We didn't have any lulls. There were no dips. It all just kind of continued to grow. And our average, 5-year average trend for the landfill waste is 7.4%. So just a constant growth that is going to, I think, going to continue. The Prairie transfer station, they processed also for the fiscal year 86,949 tons, and that's compared to 79,535. So that's an increase of 9.3%, and their 5-year average growth is 8.7. For customers, 216,818 customers. That's compared to 190,744, so that's a growth of 13.7%. So more and more people are finding the Prairie transfer station, which hopefully is a relief for Ramsey. Ramsey's numbers, when you hear the percentage, it sounds smaller. I would have you listen to the actual difference between the two, because Ramsey has been there since open in '86.
Right.
So their percentage numbers are going to be smaller. So their tons were 137,126. That's up 3.4%, or compared to 132,596. Their 5-year trend is staying pretty steady at 4.4%, but you have to remember that Ramsey is pretty much maxed out in the services that they can provide since we are landlocked there. There's no room for growth. Customer-wise, they did 365,663 customers. That's up 8% compared to 338,503. 5-year trend is 4%. Now down to dollars and cents. As you recall, we did reduce our fees. So our fee reduction should net us at about a negative 3%. I'm here to tell you that we netted a growth of 0.5%. That just tells you we did net a negative 3% in the solid waste fees. So the $88 that we charge to each resident in Kootenai County is down 3%, which is exactly what I anticipated to happen. However, The commercial billings, the scale house activity, the city of Coeur d'Alene, all of those are in the positive. So for instance, the monies that came in through the scale house, this is the highest number that I've ever had, and I'll quote you last year's numbers, but we're up 22%. This year's numbers were 733,000 and some change compared to 598,000 last year. And that just goes to show that there are more and more things that are happening in the transfer stations that are requiring those scale house operators and the management of money. So overall, the revenue is up 0.5%. Should be at negative 3%, but that just goes to show how busy that we've been and will continue to be.
So is it 0.5% or 0.3%?
It is, the overall revenue is 0.47.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's all sources.
That is the main sources, so that would be the solid waste fee, the city of Coeur d'Alene that does our commercial billing, the scale houses, and the AR, what our office staff does.
Okay. All right. Yeah, what about commercial? Is that factored in there as well?
Yes,
It is, okay.
that would be our AR factor.
That's the AR, okay.
And
cool.
that was up 6.8%.
Not surprised. Okay. Bill, any questions?
No, it sounds like solid waste is in good hands.
Lots of numbers.
Lots of numbers is right. It's always exciting, actually, when you go through the numbers, because it really speaks to what's going on in the community, the
Well,
growth rate and everything else.
I always tell you that if you want to know what your economy is like, check in with your solid waste department, because knowing what your trending is for the waste and knowing what your revenue is for that waste really tells you what's going to happen in your economy. And because when the economy starts to take a dip, then your recycling numbers go up and your garbage goes down. It's really amazing. It's pretty fascinating.
So you don't see any signs of impending?
Not right now.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. So personnel updates, is that where we are now? Okay, go right ahead. JP?
Okay, yes, I'm going to go ahead with personnel. So what I wanted to discuss today was some department transitioning. I wanted to give you some updates on what's been occurring since Kathy's departure.
Yep.
So due to the shifting of personnel following Kathy's retirement and related promotions, we recognize that there are some issues that need to be addressed regarding wages, changes in responsibilities, for example, some mentoring and training of new personnel, succession planning and additional retirements that are likely to take place in the next 5 to 7 years that will impact our department. So we put together a request that meets the department's needs and also stays within the amount budgeted for personnel in fiscal year 21. This will not be a request for additional funding. The entire plan will be presented to the BOCC on the next HR meeting on November the 12th, 2020. If you'd like, I can meet with each one of you individually to discuss the plan more in detail, but that's kind of a summary.
Okay.
It wouldn't cost anything in addition to what we've already budgeted.
Okay, good.
So, moving on, we have open positions. We currently have 3 open solid waste technician positions, which used to be titled spotter. We're struggling to get qualified applicants. Partially, this is because we lost a mechanic and a seasonal employee to Parks and Waterways and an equipment operator to the airport, which allowed people that used to be in solid waste technician jobs to move up to other positions and created these open jobs. For a COVID update, I also wanted to say one of the main reasons that people left those positions was for better pay. Some scheduling, but it was primarily pay. I believe both the airport as well as parks have positions that pay one pay grade higher than those positions.
And better schedules.
And better schedules?
Yes, so
Yeah.
instead of working every weekend, then they would have weekends off. Or
Yeah.
Right,
4/10s.
right.
It's tough, and it's a first time that we've lost internally to Kootenai County. So, yeah, we're struggling a little bit to get actual applicants for now the solid waste technician. We've been out since September, full-time recruitment, and not really getting, I mean, we're interviewing, but not really anybody that's interested in working blue-collar work.
Yeah.
What are the wages or the wage range for the three open
The wage
positions?
range, it starts at $14.73.
Okay.
It is a grade 4.
Got it. Okay.
So we're moving on to COVID update.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's a hot topic probably throughout the county. We currently have one employee that was diagnosed with COVID-19 from within our administration. Currently, that employee is able to work from home this week, and so we're having her go ahead and do that. We, in response to that, immediately performed the deep cleaning as necessary within the office. And other employees are monitoring their own health and were instructed to stay home if they notice any possible symptoms. We did want to note that there was very minimum contact for extended periods without masks within the office. Almost everybody stays masked up all the time when they're in close proximity to each other. And so currently we haven't had any other employees within that time frame that have shown any symptoms related to COVID. We also did instruct our employees to call Panhandle Health if they suspected a test may be necessary, and all employees were reminded to wear masks when not able to maintain a 6-foot minimum distance. Another thing that we went ahead and did was we reminded our employees that masks are required at all times when working in the scale house, since these are areas where our employees must come within 6 feet of the public during that transaction where they're handling monies and also giving out cards that for the commodities they're bringing in.
Anecdotally, the day after the city of Coeur d'Alene instituted their mask mandate, we got our first phone call that with a complaint of a scale house operator not wearing a mask, and JP was able to look at the video and then redirect, make sure that everybody understood that although we all have that comfort level of greater than 6 feet, specifically for those scale houses and for our customers that come through, to have that confidence that they are protected as well.
Good.
So
Okay.
just a constant, and it'll be a constant battle for all of our employees to maintain that masking, specifically at the transfer station, because it is it's a challenge to maintain that mask while you're doing some physical labor and there is no one really around.
Yeah, there's no question. Have you had any pushback from employees?
Very minimal. There were some employees that they didn't want to wear the mask because of the comfort level.
If you're doing physical labor, it's tough.
And our safety person has purchased some face shields. So
okay,
those are going to roll out this week.
Good.
For those 1 or 2 that did push back in regards to wearing the mask, or that we're having some difficulty in wearing a mask for such a long period of time during the day. So we're kind of rolled back to that March kind of time frame. We've reduced the number of people that can be in the break room all at the same time, kind of trying to stagger that, and then just again reminding everyone what those same infectious disease control things are, which is wash your hands, cover your cough, those kinds of things, so that we can hopefully get through the flu and cold season and this red level.
Modified
through,
stage 3.
so that we can just kind of keep taking care of garbage.
With that, commissioners, that concludes our solid waste update.
As always, well done.
Thank you.
Let me ask a question, though. During the recession, well, you were here then, weren't you, Lorene?
Yes, it was.
Were there signs, telltale signs
Yes.
before there were?
Yes, I predicted. You could see the commercial waste started to reduce, and it wasn't like just a little bit here, a little bit there. It was really like a faucet shutting off, and you could see your waste dramatically decreasing, and you could then incorporately see the revenue started to drop.
Wow.
But that's why we plan. That's why you have a solid waste fund that can carry that type of a hit, and we did. And, that's what you pay me for, is to keep an eye out on that kind of.
Absolutely. Good job, good job. Bill, questions?
No, no questions at all.
Okay. Public comment? None? 10:33, meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. Okay, Bill, see you at